Thanks for tuning in and welcome back to The Box. This is our 2013 Mitsubishi Fuso FG and I'm turning it into an overland camper. As I'm building out the interior, I've done quite a bit of work on the main electrical system as well as starting to build the seat boxes and benches out of 80/20 T-slot extrusion. Over the last couple of episodes, I've worked on the drawer slide for the Nature's Head, built the seat box that goes around it, and this time I'm going to work on the structure that's going to support the floor. But there's already a floor there. Yes, this is going to be a second floor so that underneath we can have some drawers and some extra storage. I've already cut all the pieces of T-slot that I need, so I just need to clean up the ends. Really doesn't take much, but it is nice to give it a quick skim with a flap disc just to get rid of any sharp edges. Now that the ends are all cleaned up, it's time to start putting in nut slugs.
Ew.
What's a nut slug? Well, this is the standard inexpensive stamp nut that you buy for use in T-slot extrusion, but it has a few issues. To start with, when you insert it into the slot, it slides, making it difficult to get at the right place. They also often sit on an angle, making it nearly impossible to start the screw threading in. So when I started this build, I came up with a 3D printed solution. This is a nut slug. The stamped nut just pops into the top. Then, when you slide it into the slot, it stays exactly where you put it and it's completely flat. And every time I come out here to build, I seem to go through about 100,000 of them. Okay, maybe not quite that many, but it sure feels like it. With all the nut slugs assembled and slid into place, I'm going to start by assembling the rear box frame that ties the two sides together and gives the support for the rear end of the floor. Although I did a very similar setup in the other end, this end is slightly different. In the forward end of the box where we have the batteries, the floor actually stops before it gets to the wall because I need to be able to access the batteries. The way the floor is supported is here. This lands on top of the vertical. We've got it landing on top of this vertical. We land on top of this vertical, but here we're only held in place by a single bolt. So for where the rear end meets the back wall, I'm actually adding a support here so that we don't have to rely on this fastener's clamping force. Now this means that right here, we're doubling up on the two pieces of T-slot, which makes it a little bit harder to fasten. So I've printed these little doublers that allow the T-slot to slip down over top and lock into place. So this cannot move away from that piece. With the two side pieces dropped down in place, I've set the centerpiece in. Now I can place this piece on top, tie in these corners, and then tie in these corners. For every 2 billion of the nut slugs that I go through, I also go through 1 billion of the corner brackets, but since they only cost a few pennies each to make, it's not that big of a deal. Whew, it's not getting any cooler in here. With that all loosely assembled now, I can hit it with my cordless and tighten everything up. It's hot in here. With the back section now in place, I can start running the frame up the center. The bottom piece is pretty straightforward. We just slide it into place and put a nut through the back corner bracket. Good news if you 3D print and want to use my designs, I'm starting to build a collection online that you can download. Take a look in the video description for that link. Now because the front half of this is going to have a set of drawers in it, it's really important that everything stays parallel so the drawers can slide in and out properly. So halfway along, I've put a set of cross braces that make sure that this rail stays dead centered in the space. While the location of that cross brace may seem a little random, I'll explain it a little bit later. Last two pieces to go in place are the vertical support in the center and then the lengthwise upper crossbar. The really nice thing about using T-slot extrusion is that as long as you can get your cut lengths exact, you will end up with strong, perfectly square, lightweight framing. It's not difficult to assemble at all, and it's easy to take back apart if you need to change something. Now we have a nice frame space for a set of drawers and some additional storage, just like on this side, except here we have about a 24-inch drawer and batteries. Over here we'll have about a 24-inch drawer and some storage. Now I did say I'd let you know why I spaced it like that, so let me grab something and set it down over there. So in the very back half, underneath the floor, which will have lifting, we're gonna have a set of these bins. These bins fit exactly 2 per side, and they'll be nice and snug. So they run up against this bar, and that gives us just enough room for a 24-inch drawer ahead of it. Now, believe it or not, I'm out of T-slot nuts again, which means I've used over 400 of them assembling everything in here. I'm also out of the T-slot that I've cut for today, and I'm out of the patience for this heat, so I'm gonna get out of the kitchen. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Oh, it's so much cooler just out here.